this is the actual order that came out. There was a lawsuit filed in the Northern District of Alabama by the National Small Business Association and some of their members against Janet Yellen as the Secretary of Treasury and FinCEN, et cetera. And on March 1st, a Friday, late afternoon, the federal judge basically said in a 53-page order that the act was unconstitutional. Now, who does that apply to? That applies to the National Small Business Association and the actual plaintiffs that filed the lawsuit. FinCEN on March 11th, basically about 10 days later, filed an appeal, notice of appeal of that to the 11th Federal Circuit Court and appellate court. And so FinCEN has taken the position, which is an accurate position, that until the appeals court determines whether that's an appropriate order or not, they are saying that unless you were a named plaintiff in that lawsuit, that the regulations still apply and you still have to file your reports with FinCEN. That's the position they're taking, and that's what we are recommending to our clients, that you continue to make the appropriate filings, both the initial filings, and by the way, if there is a change, you change an address, a beneficial owner changes, an executive officer changes, because it's not just beneficial owners that own 25% or more of the company. It's also executive officers of that company, what I'll call C-suites, the CEO, the president, the chief financial officer. They also have to be a part of the company's filing. So we are telling our clients that if there's both their initial filing and any amendments, by the way, amendments have to be filed within 30 days of when that change happens. So if you move across the street or into another town, or if you appoint a new president or chief executive officer, then you have 30 days to file an amendment with FinCEN of your beneficial ownership.
So simple, nothing to it. You just got to remember it. You just got to read that 50-page guide. We might be useful to dive into some of the specific, you just mentioned some of it, but some of the information. I know people are, Khalil, you said just collect a bunch of papers and send them in, right?
Well, I filed in preparation for this, and it wasn't that hard. It wasn't like it was rocket science. It took a little bit of time. I had to make sure I took a picture of my passport, I think was the one that I used.
Yes, passport, voter registered, and a photo ID issued by our government, like a driver's license, works.
Right.
A passport works.
Yeah. So I just took a photo of that, and then I uploaded it with some other documents and LLC document, whatever. And maybe I did it wrong, but I submitted it. So we'll see if it goes haywire. But yeah, I was able to get it done. I think the things that come to mind for me are like, do I do this every year? How often do I got to file? Like, is this like taxes? What are we doing here?
Well, the good news is that you've done your initial filing, you've done it on time, you've provided the information where they've issued you a number, and a number that is the filing number. Mm-hmm. If nothing changes, you don't have to file anything else. But if you change address, you do have to file the change of address. If you have a new president, you have to notify them. It's not an ongoing annual type of a filing that you have to make. Now, a lot of businessmen have multiple companies. Do they have to file it for every company? And the answer is yes. But the good news is that you can go online on that the initial website. They have got a tab you can click to get your individual's FinCEN identifier. So I, as a lawyer and having a number of businesses that I'm involved in, I went and got my own FinCEN ID number. And instead of having to put in all of my information each time I'm making a report for a company I organize or for whatever, then I could just put in my FinCEN identification number, and I don't have to put that stuff in anymore. So for an entrepreneur that has 10 companies, we're recommending your individual ID number, and then for each company, you put in the company information, but when it gets putting in your information, you just put in your ID number, and you don't have to put in your passport or all the rest of that stuff. So
makes sense.
It's the good news. You actually have a mechanism to where you don't have to repeat it time after time after.
Hey, Khalil, did you do that?
No, I saw the option to create the FinCEN ID, but I just filed. I didn't want another account to worry about.
If you do that, do you get it back promptly, Mark, or is that kind of deal?
Print it off immediately when you do it. You know, the website shows you what your FinCEN ID number is. I mean, this is the one that I got, and I just printed it off with my ID. So every time I have to do a filing, by the way, you know, if you're a law firm that is filing for clients, the initial paperwork, we have to add information on there. So if I'm actually doing a filing for a client to organize their new LLC, then I use my FinCEN ID along with the client's information for the new company.
Yeah.
My legal assistant also had to do the same thing, by the way, since she's the actual one that does the filings.
Interesting. Well, yeah, obviously this is something, the penalties don't start until 2025, it sounds like, for existing companies prior to 2024. But if you're a new company that was just established in 2024, you have 90 days. And then after that, it's $500 a day.
If FinCEN says that you have not done what you're supposed to do, they can assess a civil penalty of $500 a day from when it should have been filed.
Okay.
Will they do that? I don't have any way of knowing. Keep in mind, FinCEN is not it's not the IRS. You know, the last time I checked, FinCEN only hit about 250 employees. You know, how are they going to look at, say, 20 million filings to determine whether someone's done something right or not? I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.